Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. Today, we're going to be diving into my thoughts about the direction that Disney has been going in. A little Dear Disney, if you will. Let's check it out. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and my name is Mustafa Talib with Cinema King Productions, and I am your host. Um, we're going to be talking about Disney. Dear Disney, how are you? I hope you're doing well. To be honest, this was kind of a last minute idea that I kind of threw together in my head. It's just been kind of a build up over the past several years, actually, with Disney putting out stuff that not a lot of people have been really happy with, at least in my opinion. If y'all want to join in on the discussion, make sure you are chiming in. Make sure you give this live stream a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'd really greatly appreciate that. But to be part of the discussion, go ahead and comment in the live chat below, and I'll be looking over and saying what's up and answering your questions if y'all have any, and we can, just make this lively, just keep this discussion going. I think it's really important to talk about what's been going on with Disney lately, in terms of their direction, in terms of the content that they've been putting out, the controversial stuff that's been happening surrounding Disney. So let's, I guess, start from the beginning. In my experience, I grew up in the 90s, so I was very much a fan and still a fan of the classic Disney animated films. And then, of course, Pixar was mixed into that as well, starting with Toy Story in 1995. But I'm not here to talk about so much Pixar, because those movies have a standard, and if they don't meet that standard, then there's a problem. So that's why I don't have issues with Pixar animated films. My biggest qualm has recently been with the reboots of Disney animated films. I don't want to say starting with The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book came out and it was great. It was groundbreaking technology. It was reimagined as it should have been, as it was intended to be. More relatable in the story and whatnot. They did change a few things, which is okay. It's acceptable. However, with the following reboots, that's when things get a little bit nasty and a little messy and cringing. Starting with, oh man, one of my favorites, which was Beauty and the Beast from 1991, the classic Disney animated film, Beauty and the Beast. I don't know how to explain it. It's just holds one of those places in my heart where it's just so phenomenal. The music, the cinematography, the story, ultimately was just so rich and powerful. The emotion that was captured through the animation and the camera movements, and each character was so they each had so much depth. I felt like a lot of that was missing in the reboot. Kudos to Emma Watson for playing Belle. She did an excellent job, I think. Although I will have to say about her wardrobe that I found it to be a little weird that she had it like her skirt semi tucked in. I don't know if that was supposed to be projected, like she's a working woman, getting all down and doing the grunt work. But it was all right. I remember doing a review when it came out in 2016. Sorry, I'm seeing some errors, but it's fine. But yeah, I remember doing a review about it, and I would very much notice the big advocacy and ideologies that they were trying to push within that film. Luke Evans, as much as a great actor he was, I did not feel like he was the right Gaston. Josh, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I did not feel like he was the right Gaston. Josh, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The actor who played Olaf in Frozen did his voice. I think actually no, I take that back. He was a good LeFou, but again, the whole premise, it was changed. The depth of each character was changed. The Beast, I don't know who played him, but still, it wasn't as powerful as it should have been, and I was very disheartened and disappointed with that. I wish it was just so much more, but regardless, so that's Beauty and the Beast. Then following that was, I believe, Aladdin, the remake about Aladdin. First of all, I remember the big internet rah-rah that, it has to be a Middle Eastern person, right? Don't get some white guy to play Aladdin. It has to be a Middle Eastern person. And Disney was like, okay, fair game, right? We have to be all inclusive, right? Fair game for everybody who wants to be part of the Disney family. We want to expand. We want to represent all people and not just keep it exclusive to certain groups. So yeah, they found what's his name? My God, I'm losing track here. The Egyptian guy. Let me look him up real quick. Minna something. Minna Mas'ud? Yeah, Minna Mas'ud. That's what I thought. And I think he did an okay job playing Aladdin. He very much looked like him, which was a big plus. And a bigger plus was that he was Middle Eastern. He was Egyptian. But then throw in the mix that I remember a lot of people were trying to boycott it because he supported an Israeli restaurant, and that was like the big I'm not gonna go see Aladdin because this guy, he's being positive about Israel in that light. So that was something. Jasmine was played by a British Indian actress. Let me see her name. Who was she again? Naomi Scott, right? Actually, I don't know if she is part Indian. I take that back. But still, it was it wasn't right. That's all I'm trying to say. Like there was just something missing. Again, with all these reboots, there was just something missing coming from Disney. Like, it didn't have the heart, it didn't have the soul. It was just like, we're running out of ideas, guys, so let's just pour a lot of money into rebooting these classic films that, the target audience, which was my generation, and make it live action. Then we're also, going to be able to target another audience, the newer generation, to appreciate it, and make something great out of it. And it was good effort, but again, it didn't hold the same spirit. It didn't hold the same emotions of the original classic films. And then, of course, after that, also in 2019, came The Lion King, my favorite Disney animated film of all time, even though it was based off of an anime, supposedly. But regardless of that, I feel like Lion King was just the best in all of them. All of them have their place, but my personal favorite is The Lion King. And what Disney did to it, oh my God. I remember being in the theater, watching it, the reboot from Jon Favreau, and I was so pissed off. I was so mad that I was going to get up and leave the theater. I was just like, this is not Lion King. There were so many things wrong with it. The visuals, and they obviously took that to the next level by making almost the 99.9 99% of the film was CGI, The Lion King, except for the opening shot, which is, the sun rising in Africa. And that was the spoiler. This is the real shot. Everything else you see is going to be fake. But kudos to the team. They did an amazing job with the animation to make it very photorealistic. The camera movements, the and everything. The detail, the amount of detail was phenomenal. But it was lacking so much heart. It was lacking so much emotion. When we watch the Disney films, we remember like how Simba was feeling when he disappointed Mufasa. We saw how angry Mufasa was. We saw how sinister Scar was, right, through their expression, through their face. But man, did Disney butcher it with emotionless, real life looking creatures on screen, animals, and even their dialogue. I mean, thank God, and I was very keen on this, that they brought back James Earl Jones to play Mufasa, because there's only one Mufasa, and that is him. Just like nobody else can play Darth Vader except him, or at least voice him. But even James's delivery on some of these lines, it seemed like they were more like questions versus statements. In my personal opinion, with Lion King, again, because of how upset I would have been more than happy if they literally just took everything from the original animated film in 1994, that's when it came out, and they just replaced everything shot by shot with CGI. That's it. No new cast, no nothing. Just replace the visuals. And maybe, of course, enhance the sound. But, man, with Lion King, I mean, that's my baby. I mean, obviously, you can see that. Even this mouse pad. This mouse pad I had when I was a kid, and I remember I accidentally burnt it when I was a child. And so it was I think it was last year or so, I was like, I need to find this mouse again. And I found it on eBay for like $5. I'm like, I'm getting this. This is nostalgia. And because it is, Lion King, it's Mufasa with Simba, and it's memorabilia that I very much cherish because it was part of my childhood. And then that's what was, I guess, the most disappointing thing about these reboots with Disney, is that they're taking away my childhood, my memories, my good times, the feel good. It's just so disappointing to see what they've been putting out, and people are still going to watch it. And of course, the trailers are just like, amazing, and they do a great job promoting it, marketing it. But then the actual film is just trash. It's garbage. Going back to Aladdin, even, I have to say this: nobody can replace the genie with Robin Williams. I mean, nobody can replace Robin Williams. Nobody. He was such a phenomenal actor. It's so sad that, he had to take his own life because he wasn't happy. But he made others laugh. And the genie was one of those iconic characters that he is so well known for. And even like when you look into the behind the scenes of the making of Aladdin, right, from 1992, or was it 93? I can't remember exactly, but regardless, the animators, when they were drawing Genie and they were animating him, they always had Robin Williams in mind. It was never anybody else that they had put up for casting. They really wanted him because of how good he was, because of how much energy he brought, because of how much emotion and character and depth he brought. And it was just so beautifully done. And then you get somebody like Will Smith to come in and play the genie, which he didn't do a bad job, but he didn't do a great job. And I only say that because, in my opinion, he basically brought Fresh Prince into Agrabah. That's it. There was no real innovative approach to the genie when they were doing this. Again, in my opinion, And the second thing, which I'm surprised he agreed to do the film. Of course, it has to be attached to the dollar sign, but the typical role for African Americans or Black people to be portrayed in film is always the magic man, the sidekick, the John the Baptist character, Morpheus in The Matrix, Lawrence Fishburne, same thing, right? It fits the stereotype in white patriarch Hollywood. You have the white male lead, the female damsel in distress, and the helper, which is played by the black man. Again, even though he was technically blue, still, I don't know. It didn't. I felt like there was something wrong with that. Moving on with the live action films, there's been. I actually have not watched it, but I know there was Lady and the Tramp. That was one of the big pushes for people to get Disney Plus. I have not watched it yet, like I said, and I probably don't plan to, just because I wasn't a huge fan of the cartoon back in the day. I'm mainly referencing the 90s animated films, excluding Little Mermaid, which ironically has been given a confirmation. I'm sure many of y'all have seen and heard that, yes, it has been announced, the date, the cast, and the plot. So supposedly there is a release date for an untitled Disney live-action movie. This is according to radiotimes.com, on November 19th, 2021. So next year, we should be having supposedly Little Mermaid, because that's what's been rumored as the release date. And the cast has been announced. I was a little funny story. I always kept misreading the actress who would be playing Ariel in this reboot as Halle Berry, but the famous actress. But this is R&B duo Chloe and Halle. That Halle or Halle Bailey. She'll be portraying Ariel, and there is some controversy about that. Why is she being picked? Ariel wasn't originally African American or black in The Little Mermaid. So again, you can't please everybody, right? When you're trying to do new things. So that's coming out, and then you have the big controversial movie that came out recently, exclusively on Disney Plus because of COVID-19. Nobody can go to even though theaters are opening up, but a premiere access on Disney Plus by paying an extra $30 to watch the reboot of Mulan. And so far, I've heard that it was really, really bad because a lot of key things. Firstly, no Mushu, played by Eddie Murphy. No Shang. Like, what's the point? What are girls supposed to be looking at? I'm just kidding. But who's the general, right? And no side characters, right? Chimpo, Meow, and Ling. None of those guys. But the bigger problem with Mulan, which a lot of people have boycotted from watching, is because of the filmmakers in the credits thank the concentration camps that are holding Chinese Muslims not hostage, but they're just keeping them in camps during the filming of Mulan. They thank them. Like, why would you want to do that, Disney? Why do you want to make enemies with a large community globally? That's all I'm gonna really say about that. Shame on Disney. Really, really, shame on you guys. Y'all should know better. Y'all were heading in the direction of being inclusive, and yet y'all are supporting terrorization of people who are held captive because of their religious beliefs. Not cool. Not cool at all. And y'all should be held to higher standards. Big time. Very, very disappointed with y'all. But the only way to really hurt them is, to get them in their wallets. Anyway, moving on from that, I was just scrolling to see what other upcoming live-action reboots are happening. And to my surprise, there is Hercules. That's supposed to be coming up in... actually, there's no date on it. But with Hercules, you have... Actually, give me a second. I think it's on here. They're trying to cast Ariana Grande as Megara, which I think is interesting. And let's see, these other films that are supposed to be coming out. There is Cruella, so I guess the perspective of Cruella de Vil. That's supposed to be released May 28th, 2021, according to Wikipedia. You have Peter Pan and Wendy, an untitled The Jungle Book sequel, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, based off the original from 1937. The original, the first feature-length animated Disney film, incredible. Pinocchio, that was the second one, that came out in 1940, and then an Aladdin sequel that should be interesting. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, based off of the Hunchback of Notre Dame from 1996. Again, a great film. I remember watching it recently. I'm like, this is not meant for kids at all. This is something else, right? It's so dark. It's so cinematic, if you will. It's has a really strong theme, a lot of emotion, deep characters, right? It was well done. So I'm curious to know what Disney's going to be coming out with or rebooting with these guys. And then in addition to, I guess, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, there's another one called Rose Red, which is going to be based off Snow White as well. And then there's going to be a reboot of Bambi, and then Hercules, and then there's going to be an untitled Lion King prequel. That should be interesting. It's interesting, but I'm also very skeptical and scared. Like, what are they going to do? And should I even bother? Like, Disney has just been really falling off the rails with their ideas because they're running out of them. Previously, there have been some theatrical released films that were turned into live action that I didn't mention before, starting with 101 Dalmatians. That was back in the 90s, though. So it was not exactly a reboot, but it was like a follow-up. Like, here's the animated one from the 60s, is a live-action version soon after. Then 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians. Then there was Alice in Wonderland from Tim Burton. And that was 2010. Maleficent, which was based off Sleeping Beauty. That came out in 2014. Cinderella came out in 2015. We already mentioned The Jungle Book. Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is another Alice in Wonderland reboot. Actually, that one I think is Tim Burton's. No, I was right. Tim Burton was from 2010. This other one is from James Bubbin from 2016. Then Beauty and the Beast, 2017. Christopher Robin, based off Winnie the Pooh films, kind of like combined. That was 2018. And then Dumbo, did not watch that. Also from Tim Burton. That was 2019. Aladdin, Lion King, and then the recent Maleficent, Mistress of Evil came in 2019 as well. Um, but yeah, it's kind of disheartening to know that Disney is just not coming up with original ideas anymore, unfortunately. I wish they were, though, because they could be doing so much. And then on top of the animated films, they have been acquiring other huge, large franchises, Star Wars, that whole universe. I want to just completely ignore the last three that ever happened and just keep it 1 through 6. That out. And then they acquired the Marvel universe. Excuse me. And so you have, starting with Iron Man in 2008, then Incredible Hulk, and then back to Iron Man, and then Thor, and then Captain America, and then all these Doctor Strange, and then Spider-Man, and Black Panther, rest in peace, and so many more. And then there's all these other movies that are supposed to be coming out as well. Black Widow is supposed to hit theaters or streaming services or theaters soon as well. But again, all these films are all under the Disney empire, as well as 20th Century Fox, right? That's also part of the Star Wars deal, I think. But yeah, I just wish they did a better job with if they were going to do reboots, then they should have done a better job with them, I think. They were okay when they were coming out, but looking back at them, I feel like they are really starting to lack in creativity, in new ideas. So yeah, again, if y'all have anything to add to the conversation, make sure you go into the live chat. I'll be looking over and checking that out. I had a few more things to talk about, I think, but I didn't jot them down, and I'm not using my teleprompter, unfortunately. But yeah, this has been fun. Disney, man. They were something in the beginning, but then they became this huge empire, and then, it became about money and whatnot, and then they just started going in weird directions. Because they have good stories, they want to retell it, reimagined, and introduce these stories to the new generations to come, so that way they fixated on a certain amount of stories and then just, all right, let's recycle until who knows when, I'll always be a Disney fan in terms of like the original classics from the 90s. And I mean, the other animated films from Pixar were great. Frozen, I was not a huge fan of. Frozen 2, that was just like, why? Didn't make sense when I was watching it. A lot of just dragging for no reason. But they, built franchises off it and merchandise, and again, it's the greed. I feel like what's really behind it is the greed, and not so much the true passion of telling an original story, one of love, one of kindness, one of something of substance, something that will really take home and learn, while being entertained. It did get better, though. I'll talk about Frozen 2 for a little bit. It was boring for like the majority of the movie, and then it was like the last, I don't know, 35 minutes or so, then it was really starting to get good. Or like, okay, yeah, because they just bust out into song unnecessarily, and that's something I miss. I mean, what made, in my opinion, what I feel like made the original Disney classics was that their song numbers were pivotal in the story. It wasn't just random. It wasn't just for the sake of it. It had purpose. It had meaning. The lyrics, it drove the song. It moved the story along to the next point. coupled with that, great lyrics, coupled with that, great cinematography, the art direction, all that combined, and it just, you have one amazing film. And I think that's what distinguishes a film from just something just to put out. You can tell when real passion has been put into something versus let's just make a quick buck kind of thing, kind of project. And you can see that. Yeah, I think that's all I can really say at this point. If y'all are still watching, I really appreciate it. If y'all enjoyed this live stream, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Quick few announcements. First, tomorrow I'll be premiering a behind the scenes with my collaboration with Rozwan Jagani, the violist. That will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Make sure you check out that behind the scenes look. But before you do, make sure you go to his channel, subscribe to his channel, and watch his music video premiere of Kun Fayakun, a beautiful piece that was reimagined and what's the other word? I don't know, but it's amazing, and I was very honored and proud to be a part of it. So make sure you check that out, and make sure you check out the behind the scenes on my channel. So subscribe so you don't miss that, and turn on that post notification when it comes on. And another thing, the 48-hour challenge that I recently participated in. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that this past weekend I was a part of that. It's so crazy how time is just flying by the way. I know it's a random thought, but something to take notice of. We're just so busy day to day that time is just whizzing by. Anyway, I was very fortunate that I got to participate in the 48-hour challenge, and currently putting the behind the scenes to that together. So whenever we can release it, I will talk about that and link that in the description of the behind the scenes, so you can watch the film first and then watch how it was made. It was not as easy as you think. We were given certain requirements to include in our film. So it was a line of dialogue, a prop, a character, and a genre that we had to use. So there were limitations, but with limitations comes creativity, and I think that's something that we should really hone and understand. So yeah, that's going to be coming out soon. Don't know exactly when, because the screenings, I think, are supposed to be this coming weekend for the 48-hour films. They've been judging them. Peace out.